Hi again, this is Mike, the Philosopher Engineer. Today's episode is for August 31st, 2020. Yes, we're still in 2020. What a crazy year. Today's topic is robustness and reliability. I'm involved in product development, all types of products, especially medical devices. And if you are working for a company that produces a product, then this topic is important for you. I think most companies would obviously want to have reliable products. Most people that buy products want them to be reliable. They want them to be dependable. These words are all very similar, so I want to dive into robustness and reliability, what they mean, and how to achieve them. Okay, so there's a particular process to understand how something is going to fail, and there are ways to achieve reliability. But really, the way to understand reliability and robustness, or robustness and reliability, is a proactive engineering process. So first, it requires an understanding of how something works. So if you have a machine or a product, it has a lot of specific functions. And when we develop products, we want to understand each of those functions very well. So what happens is when you design a product and it has all these functions, well, we use the engineering and the physics and the equations, and we test and we build and all that. So what happens with each function is we can quantify that. We can write equations, or we can do a simulation, or we can put it in a laboratory and do a measurement. Whether it's a snap and it has a certain force, or whether it's a button, or whether it's a gear. And and those functions have to accomplish something. So they have some requirements. Maybe it has to handle a certain load, or go a certain speed, or have a certain battery life, whatever these requirements are. So those functions, they have to meet some kind of requirements. A spring might have to have a certain amount of force. Well, robustness and reliability are related. They're very similar. Robustness is really how strong something is. So if you have a car, for example, and a part is weak and it breaks and it fails, then it's not strong enough. So if it's really strong in it, and you can just abuse that car or that piece of equipment and it doesn't break, that's because it's very robust. But we can take each specific function and first understand how it works when everything goes right. Now we can do that analytically, and we can do that physically, right? Virtually and physically with all of our computer tools we have. It's pretty amazing. And we figure out where it fails. Well, that's called design margin. So first you find out how it works, then you find out how it works at the limits, because everything you make has variability. And will that product work across the variability of each component as well as it did if things were perfect? And if at some point, will it fail? If it's supposed to seal, will it leak? If it's supposed to take a certain load, will it crack? Will it break? Will it fail? If it's supposed to be accurate, will it not meet the accuracy? So we look at all these things. Now what we do specifically is we take each of these functions and we can drive them intentionally to failure. As I say, we break things. So when we break things, we understand design margin. And design margin is kind of the difference between what it has to do and where it will fail. We can over-design something, so we can build something like a tank and it never fails, but maybe it's a little too heavy. So you can over-design or you can under-design. And the way we quantify that is what we call design margin, or some people call it factor of safety. In other words, what is the difference between where it fails and where it has to operate? So that's kind of the robustness. Now, what we do in a systematic way is we rank all those things from the least amount of design margin, least robust, to the most robust. Well, that means that probably parts of our design are, a little bit vulnerable. They're weak points, a weak link. Some people might use that description. And then maybe there's a lot of other parts of our design that are over-designed. So maybe they're too heavy and maybe they can be optimized later on. So that's robustness. Now, reliability goes a little bit further. It takes that, the whole product with all of its functions, and it looks at a statistical analysis. How often will this product fail to do what it's supposed to do? How many complaints will I get? So if it fails 1 out of 100, if 1 out of 100 units fails, well, that's at 99% reliability. That might be pretty good, but what if only 1 out of 1,000,000 has a failure? And then there's different types of failures. If it's something like a medical device, you want to make sure that you don't have a failure that causes harm. It might fail to work and not cause harm, or it could cause harm, or it could even cause very serious harm. So reliability becomes a really important metric. And you don't have to wait and build your product, put it in production, and then afterwards figure out the reliability. In fact, that's a very dangerous way to run a business. What you really want to do is design in that reliability, understand those failures ahead of time. And there's ways to do that systematically to identify that. And then what we do is once we understand The robustness, where something works and where it fails. Well, now we have good data on failure. We understand design margin. Now we can take all this and put it into a statistical model. And really all big companies and companies with critical products should be looking at statistical reliability models. I call SRM. So statistical reliability model. And the main tool for statistical models is a Monte Carlo analysis. And Monte Carlo analysis can be done on the computer. It's not that difficult to set up. And we can understand what combinations of variability cause failure. And that helps guide the physical testing. So Monte Carlo analysis is our statistical basis for reliability. And that tool can be updated and maintained all the way through to launch. And even after launch, you can maintain a reliability model. Instead of guessing and gambling your whole company, you can proactively go after reliability. That technology is here. Those processes and methods exist already. And certainly we work with companies to show them how to implement them. And if you're on a product that is very critical, it's very difficult, maybe there's a lot of innovation and new technology, so you have a lot of risk. Robustness and reliability are really sort of the key areas of focus to achieve those results, and not wait and hope that it's reliable. That's in our competitive world, that's really not acceptable. And who wants to be sort of, if you're a user of that product, who wants to take that gamble? You want to have confidence that this product's been designed right, and not only is that new technology helpful, but the product is dependable, and the company has gone through that discipline, that process. It's kind of a very systematic, proven process to achieve reliability and monitor it and maintain it and track it. And it's more than just the design reliability, it's the product reliability, and that includes all the production elements, because each production process has variability as well, and that variability needs to be understood and needs to be quantified and then also analyze or evaluate how it affects reliability. You can fail just from manufacturing process variability that wasn't really characterized or wasn't quantified. So robustness and reliability, when you go after it proactively, it actually accelerates the project. You get done faster because you don't have kind of bad surprises or things that come up last minute and you have to go through a trial and error and kind of a fire drill to fix them. We really want to avoid all those fire drills as much as possible and go after this proactively. So we find failures ahead of time. We fix them ahead of time. It's less expensive to fix them ahead of time. The earlier you find a problem, you quantify a problem, and you mitigate that risk and fix that problem, the less expensive the whole project is, the faster you're done, and the more confidence you have in your product, and your customers will have a lot more confidence in your products as well. So, robustness and reliability. I hope you have a great week. August 31st, Monday, we ran out of August. Okay, now we're heading into September. The fall should be a beautiful time of year. I look forward to getting through 2020. This craziness is a bit much. I'd like to get back to a little peace and calm and go out and do great things and build great products. All right. Well, have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.